optimistic this time of the spring. Everybody feels good about their chances.
I know we're better than last year. I'm excited to see him get going.
Special day for the Toronto Blue Jays and Anthony Santander.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to compete.
The Jays followed up their Anthony Santander signing with a one-year deal for the future Hall of Famer, Max Scherzer.
I've had a great offseason, so look forward to getting back out there.
Vladdy slams the ball to left field. Absolutely, no doubt about it. Springer with a fly ball to center. Gone.
We still have the talent. With the group we have right now, we are ready to compete.
I believe that there's a lot of talent in this room. It's going to be fun. Guys have been here early, so I think they want to hit the ground running.
It's been a cold and snowy winter up north, but the signs of spring are here. In beautiful, sunny Dunedin, Florida, the spring training schedule begins for the Blue Jays against an AL East rival. Grapefruit action welcomes the AL East champs from last year, the New York Yankees, to TD Ballpark. Hi, everyone, and welcome inside TD Ballpark in Dunedin. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Buck Martinez. Hazel May is down on the field. And like you just saw there, a lot going on in the Blue Jays offseason. What makes you optimistic about some of the Blue Jays moves, Buck?
Well, Ben, first and foremost, they have to improve from a 74-win season a year ago, and they've made some moves that make you believe they can be better. There's a lot of ground to make up, but when you look at the offseason additions, Anthony Santander signed as a free agent. He provides power that's been missing, 44 home runs a year ago. Andres Gimenez, a three-time Gold Glover, but a couple of years ago, he hit .297 and was sixth in the MVP voting in the American League. What can you say about Max Scherzer? When he's healthy, he's one of the best pitchers in the game. His intensity has been off the charts so far this spring. And former Blue Jay #1 pick Jeff Hoffman is back with the Blue Jays, a 3-year contract to serve as the closer. He's thrown great so far this spring. And how about Jimmy Garcia coming back? Garcia won 163 games, pitched 163 games for the Blue Jays over 3 seasons. So it's like these guys have really stepped in and fit very quickly in their return to the Blue Jays. Everybody's optimistic this time of the year, but watching Max Scherzer pitch has got everybody locked in. They think they can make some noise in the East this year.
And we will get to see Andres Gimenez start today at second base. But for more on the starting first baseman today, let's go to Hazel May with the big story.
Yeah, guys, unless you've been under a rock, you know the Blue Jays and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. did not come to an agreement on a contract extension prior to Guerrero's Monday night deadline. And I asked Guerrero what the sticking point in the negotiations was, and this is what he told me. He said they had their numbers and I had my numbers. He went on to say, listen, I want to be here. I want to be a Blue Jay for the rest of my career, but it's free agency. It's business. So I'm going to have to listen to 29 more teams, and they're going to have to compete. And according to club president Mark Shapiro, the motivation to have Guerrero in the fold remains the same. He said it's still there. As for Guerrero, he has not closed the door entirely. However, he said if there was an offer, in his words, it would be realistic. It would have to be realistic. He said, I love it here. I want to be here, but it's business. So I want to make sure I'm good with that part of it too. Of course, we'll have much more on Guerrero a little later in the broadcast. Guys?
Hazel, definitely something to monitor going forward, but for today, we have a baseball game to focus on and all the familiar faces in Florida. Bo Bichette, Alejandro Kirk, Vladimir Guerrero, George Springer, and a whole lot more when we come back on Sportsnet.
Now and then, you need to stop and smell the roses. Or the leaves, rocks, trees, sticks, and that one tree again. Stay 2 nights, get a $50 Best Western gift card.
Marcus Lynn Betts, best player on the planet.
I love watching Mookie play.
On the Hall of Fame highway.
It's a blessing to have those expectations.
Goodness, and that one is gonna go. Mookie Betts, what a monster.
Got some more unfinished business to take care of.
Are you kidding me?
I try and do the best that I can in anything that I can control.
Nothing on a baseball field that Mookie Betts does not excel at.
Mookie Magic.
Goodbye offseason. Hello baseball. Go around the horn to each team's training camps on MLB Tonight's 30 clubs in 15 days.
Let's do it.
MLB Tonight's 30 clubs in 15 days begins Wednesday only on MLB Network.
Beautiful Dunedin, Florida, the site of the first spring training game of the Blue Jays 2025 Grapefruit League season. The players just getting ready to head out onto the diamond. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Buck Martinez, Hazel May down on the field. And Buck, whether it's year 1, year 10, or even further, what is the feeling like for a player when they're getting ready to play in the first spring training game?
Well, man, every spring you come to camp anticipating having a good year, and these guys are anxious to play the first game. They're tired of facing their own pitchers in live batting practice. They're tired of doing all the drills. Now, for the first time this spring, they're going to face another team, and of course, it's the New York Yankees. They're going to have to compete with the Yankees all season long. But there's a lot of excitement with this team. We talked about the additions to the ball club, and I think they've all been positive. Everybody seems to have fit right in. And John Snyder and his coaching staff, they're really paying attention to details this spring. They want to improve their base running. They want to improve their defense. They certainly want to improve their offense. And the pitching has to be much better than it was last year. To that end, all of the pitchers have come into camp in great shape. You look at Kevin Gausman, he's put on 30 pounds of muscle. He looks terrific. Chris Bassett is throwing the ball very well. Scherzer looks like he's in World Series form so far this spring. Keep your fingers crossed that he can stay healthy. But John Snyder feels real good about paying attention to the details. He said, we're not going to muscle up on teams. We don't have that kind of offense anymore. But we have to pay attention to the little things that are going to help us win games.
One guy that will be at the center of that is David Popkins, as you see Chris Bassett there, and we'll get a little more on Bassett in a minute. But new hitting coach for the Blue Jays. What's your impression of what maybe has changed from last year to this year?
Well, it's just a new voice, obviously, that Popkins comes from Minnesota, and I asked him about his philosophy. He says, we're going to be versatile. We're going to be able to change up on the fly according to who's pitching against us, according to the situation, what's the score on the scoreboard. And they've gone through so many situational drills in batting practice so far this season that it's encouraging. And, you know, like I said, they're not going to overpower teams in the East. They don't have that kind of offense, but they can't make mistakes on the bases. You can't give teams extra outs on defense, and you have to throw a lot of strikes.
We are just moments away from our first action of Blue Jays baseball in 2025. The Blue Jays charging out onto the field. The Yankees are getting ready as well. And let's take a look at who's going to be in the lineup today for the AL pennant winners last year. The New York Yankees brought a couple guys over that either have a spot or likely have a spot on the Yankees team. Look at Ben Rice at the top of the order there. He's competing for that backup catcher role behind Austin Wells this year. So he's someone that has a lot at stake during the spring, and he'll go up left on left against the Blue Jays starter today. It's Easton Lucas on the mound.
Easton Lucas is very interesting. He's 28 years old, former draft pick of the Miami Marlins out of Pepperdine in California, and he's never really started an awful lot. When you look at his record, he has only pitched in 14 major league games, a combination of 3 different teams. But Pete Walker loves his delivery. He loves his physique. He says he profiles like a starter, and they're going to give him a chance to start. Now, making this team as a starter is going to be very challenging. More than likely, he'll start the season in AAA. But it's something the Blue Jays haven't had for a while. That's depth in their AAA starting rotation.
Lucas absolutely shoved with the Bisons last year in the time that he had there, about 20 innings, and he'll have a pretty good defense to help him behind as well.
Well, they sure do, and Davis Schneider is in left field. He made 73 starts in left field last year. Joey Loperfido starts in center, and Nathan Lucas, he can play all 3. Ernie Clement played a career high in games at third base, 72 starts. Bichette Jimenez up the middle. They're going to be a dynamic double play combination. Andres Jimenez has won 3 Gold Gloves, and he is without many peers in the majors defensively. Vladdy Guerrero over at first, and Alejandro Kirk He made 89 starts a year ago. John Schneider expects him to start maybe 110, 115. But this guy right here, as you watch him during the course of the season, he's going to remind you of Robbie Alomar.
Watching him take ground balls over the last couple of days, I mean, it's a show. Sometimes that's not the most entertaining thing to watch, but when he's on the field, he's making plays that you just haven't seen before.
Yeah, he's a lot more than just defense, and he can hit, and he's hitting second in the lineup today. Don Mattingly saw him as a young player with the Mets, and Mattingly thinks for sure that he's got a chance to hit. He hit .297 a couple of years ago.
And we are going to talk to him a little bit later in this ball game. He will join us on the broadcast after he's substituted out. But for now, we get ready for the first pitch of the Blue Jays spring. Ben Rice in the box and Easton Lucas on the mound. Swing and a miss, and the Blue Jays get started the right way. Strike one.
Well, and that's going to be something Pete Walker wants to see from all of his pitchers, not just the starters, but the relievers as well. Take the advantage. Get the leverage. Pitch ahead.
Lucas has a four-seamer, cutter, slider, and change. And he's ahead, 0-2.
Yeah, the new pitch for him, in his own words, is his slider and his changeup. As a reliever, you can get by with a couple of pitches, but he's added a much better slider, and he's thrown a changeup really for the first time in his career, something that's really important if you're going to start.
Near miss there for Lucas, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. On the other side, Ben Rice played a handful of games for the Yankees last year, mostly filling in at first, but he's catching today. That's actually his more natural position. Called strike 3. Lucas freezes Rice there with an off-speed pitch, and it's a strikeout to start his start.
Yeah, absolutely, and he wants to be efficient, obviously. When you're pitching as a starter, the more efficient you can be, the deeper into a game you can pitch, and he finishes off Rice with a good breaking ball that catches the outside corner.
Lucas doing a good job of strike throwing early on. Oswaldo Cabrera now up to the plate. Switch hitter takes inside. That pitch unquestionably a ball, but if Cabrera has a question about it, or Kirk or Lucas do, the automated ball and strike system is in play in this game. So players can challenge pitches if they feel that the call was wrong on the field.
Yeah, and it's something that each team has 2 challenges, and if you lose the first challenge, you're down to 1. But if that challenge is successful, you maintain that challenge. So I think you have to be real prudent as far as when you might use it.
Ball on the ground and a diving stop by Vladdy. Throws it to the covering Lucas. Nice play by the Blue Jays for the second out.
We talk about Jimenez with his gold glove. Vladdy's got a gold glove too, and he is one of the best at throwing, whether he's standing on his feet or from his knees, and he throws on the money to Lucas. Look at where he starts. Ranging to his right, Jimenez was up the middle, and Vladdy from one knee throws a strike to Lucas, who had the bag covered. Vladdy can play. He can really play first.
Credit to Lucas, too, reeling that in and getting himself to the bag. 2 quick outs for Easton Lucas with the longtime Met, now with the Yankees in camp, Dominic Smith up to the plate.
Parts of 8 seasons in the big leagues, and it's been a struggle for him the last couple of years. Former #1 pick of the Mets.
Spent most of last season with the Red Sox, had a small cameo with the Reds as well. Swing and a fly ball foul. 0-2. For Smith, his pathway to the Yankees roster as a non-roster invitee might be a little bit blocked. Yankees brought in former MVP Paul Goldschmidt to play first, and if healthy, they have Giancarlo Stanton at DH. So Smith could be playing for other teams as much as the Yankees right now. One hopper over to Jimenez, and his first defensive play as a Blue Jay is routine to end a 1-2-3 inning. Very nice from Easton Lucas, and the Blue Jays hit for the first time next on Sportsnet.
Shohei Ohtani has changed the way we view what a baseball player can be.
Ohtani meeting the moment.
He's the most gifted baseball player we've ever seen.
Absolute rocket.
He's a unicorn.
Number 40 for Shohei. 40-40. Walk-off grand slam. No way.
Shohei Ohtani, who is the greatest living player right now, just hit a two-run bomb. Live.
The Angels select Michael Trout.
It's a dream come true.
He plays like a Hall of Famer.
One of the greatest players of all time.
That ball in, Trout ahead.
And just drink this in. He's not even close to being done.
I come to the ballpark every day trying to get better.
Generational player.
Ball's crushed.
He's rocking and rolling.
Well, it's his world.
Top tank for Mike Trout.
A different kind of juice when you see an all-time great player.
At one.
Some win their fantasy football leagues, and others are Chris Bassett. 4-10 record for him in the Blue Jays Fantasy League this season. You might see it on the back of him, and he's trying to figure out what he needs to do here. Like Tim Meza last year, Bassett is today's bat boy for the Blue Jays. And here are the bats he will retrieve. The Blue Jays lineup has a lot of thump at the top of it right now, maybe a little bit more than you're used to seeing in the first spring training game of the season. But Bo Bichette, Vlad Guerrero, and other guys really wanted to get in at the first chance.
Yeah, they're going to play a lot this spring. I think we saw last year, and I think a lot of these guys suffered because they didn't get enough at-bats. John Snyder's going to make sure that his regulars get plenty of at-bats this spring as they will face Carlos Rodon, and looks like Rodon's having a little issue with the pitch count already. Coming off a great season a year ago, made 32 starts, and that's been the issue for him. If he can stay healthy, if he can stay on the field, he's got a chance to be a premier pitcher. Had a career-high 16 wins a year ago. He's always had the strikeout capability. You can see he's checking with PitchCom right now, and obviously everybody getting used to it once again. Ben Wright's the catcher, giving him some signs over the PitchCom and seeing if he's receiving them okay. Four-seamer, slider, changeup, curveball, and a cutter, and his fastball will average 95. He's always been a strikeout pitcher. He'll come at you.
First pitch swing, Bichette rolls it to second base. Braden Shoemake over to first. There are few lefty starters in the majors who throw as hard as Carlos Rodon.
Yeah, and like I said, he's just dealt with injuries throughout his career, and last year he was healthy. Signed a 6-year contract with the Yankees in December of 2022. In 23, he even had some forearm issues to start the season, got a late start to his season, but when he's right, he's as good as any lefty in the big leagues.
Speaking of lefties, left-handed hitter Andres Jimenez takes outside in his first plate appearance in a Blue Jay uniform. Should approach to start as he takes a strike there, 1-1. Buck, you had mentioned earlier the .297 average for Jimenez in 2022. He had 17 homers in that season. Was one of the best players in all of baseball that year, and now he's trying to get back to that form.
Yeah, he told me that last year he just tried to do too much, and he got up to a decent start in the season, but then he started to tinker around with his approach, and this year he's in a good spot. He knows who he is. He knows that he doesn't have to provide power for this team, but he wants to get back to the winning ways he had a couple of years ago. He's in a good spot emotionally as well. He's got some fellow Venezuelans here on the team. Anthony Santander is here. They're both from Venezuela. They live in the same town. And Ali Sanchez is a backup catcher, non-roster guy. And Victor Martinez, he has been here all spring long. Lots of familiarity for Jimenez.
Jimenez has described Ali Sanchez as his best friend. It's pretty cool to have your best friend in camp with you as you both are at spring training for a new team.
Yeah, they have played together in the big leagues. They've played together in winter ball, and now they're back together with the Blue Jays.
Off the handle, it lands in left center field. Maybe not the hardest base hit he's ever had, but a base hit for Jimenez the first time he puts the ball in play as a Blue Jay.
Yeah, and, you know, top of the order is going to be interesting for the Blue Jays. Who's going to lead off? Who's going to hit second? And John Snyder's going to experiment with a lot of combinations. You take a look at this pitch. It's down. He stays on it and flares it over the shortstop's head into the outfield. But there's going to be a lot of manipulation among who starts at the top of the order ahead of Vladdy and Anthony Santander, who's probably going to hit behind Vladdy in that fourth spot.
Row over to first. One thing Jimenez brings to the Blue Jays is stolen base ability as well. He's a guy who could swipe 30 or more bags in a season.
Yeah, the Blue Jays obviously haven't had much speed on the bases, and they haven't been a very good base running team lately.
First pitch to Guerrero. Called strike. Vladdy's smiling. I wonder if he was thinking about tapping his head there for a second, but he opts not to.
Nah, you don't want to tap it in the first inning, that's for sure. You only get 2 in the course of a game.
Just a monster year, of course, last season for Guerrero. 323, 44 doubles, 30 homers, 103 RBIs. July, August, he went on one of the great hitting streaks in Blue Jays history. And he looks just as good right now physically, if not better, than he did last year.
Yeah, he is in a different place now. He's 25 years old, soon to turn 26, and he's just one of those guys that he understands who he is.
Jimenez takes off and easily swipes second base.
Vladdy's standing at home plate, nodding in agreement with Jimenez because he has moved himself into scoring position. Ben Rice didn't have much of a chance to throw him out. But first stolen base of the spring for the Blue Jays, and he gets a walking lead, gets a good break, and never even looks back. I like that, because it's not going to take any speed away as you just focus on sliding into second and don't peek over your shoulder.
Guerrero laces the 2-1 to right field. Coming around third is Jimenez, and the throw goes into second. 1-0 Blue Jays on Guerrero's RBI single.
For run producers like Guerrero, it is so much easier to hit with a runner in scoring position than it is with a guy at first base. Because now you know it'll just take a single to score the runner from second base. And you cut your swing down, and Vladdy does this as well as anybody. Goes the other way to pick up an RBI.
So now Guerrero on first, 1 out, and Alejandro Kirk at the plate. Home plate umpire today is Adam Beck. Dan Iasonia at first, Vic Carapaza at second, Sean Barber at third. You had mentioned it earlier, Buck. It's a big year for Alejandro Kirk. He is going to be the lead catcher as the roster stands right now. They have some catchers in that compete to play with him, but he is the guy right now behind the plate.
Yeah, he certainly is. It's a different situation for Alejandro. You know, obviously, the last few years he's been splitting time with Danny Jansen, and they both felt like they were going to catch about half the time. But Alejandro's been down here in Florida since November. He's worked very hard. I asked John Snyder, what's the number you expect from Kirk? He said about 115 games. I think that'd be a good number for him. We mentioned last year he started 89 games, and that was a career high. Of course, most of that came after Danny Jansen was traded.
Kirk smashes a ball to left. What a beautiful diving catch by Ismael Munguia. And that's allowed out for Kirk.
Yeah, Kirky's been swinging the bat well this spring early on, and I just think he's in a good spot. He knows that he's responsible for this pitching staff now, so he really has a double workload where he's got to learn everybody. But he puts a good swing on this, and it's a liner. Nice play in left field by the young left fielder.
Joey Loperfido steps in now, takes down an away ball 1. Vladdy on first after his RBI single. Loperfido hits it foul. 1-1.
Loperfido got 137 at-bats last year after the trade from Houston. And obviously mid-season for a young player trying to get acclimated to your new teammates, your new team. I think he's in a much better spot right now. He is part of this ball club.
Pops it up back of short. Munguia camps under it, and he'll make the play to end the inning. Blue Jays on the board, though, and guess who? Vladimir Guerrero Jr. His RBI single scores Andres Jimenez.
Hey, Melanie, can Beck Chevrolet's parts and service help me get new tires for my Chevy?
Yes, Jason, we do help with that.
Can they help me with oil changes or brake repairs? Absolutely. Can they help you order parts for your new or certified and pre-owned Chevy? We sure can. I was going to say help me finish this giant robot, but I guess that works too.
Beck Chevrolet on the corner of Yonkers and Central Park Avenue across from Empire Casino and at beckchevrolet.com.
Tovar, he has been impressive. He looks like he's locked in at that shortstop position.
Our guy could flat play defense on another level.
Oh, wow. Oh, man.
He's got good hands, good balance at the plate, hits the ball to all field.
How about that Ezequiel Tovar? Ezequiel Tovar does it. Man, is Tovar special.
Look for big things for him in the near future.
Welcome back to TD Ballpark. Now that negotiations on his contract are behind him, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is turning the page, and as you've seen already in this ball game, firmly setting his sights on the baseball field. Now, he's already told us he will not address his contract in season, nor will he be thinking about free agency, just concentrating on victories. Now, Guerrero did admit that this entire contract process has fueled his desire to have another big season. It's great motivation, Guerrero told us. I wake up every day thinking about working out harder than before and trying to put up good numbers, staying healthy, and going to the playoffs. So, guys, the Blue Jays fans are hoping a motivated Guerrero is also a dangerous one on the baseball field. Guys?
Absolutely, Hazel. And Buck, correct me if I'm wrong, but a good Vlad season helps everyone involved. There's no downside to him playing well.
No, he has to play well. He's got a lot at stake, and obviously the ball club does too. Aaron Boone was asked about the Guerrero situation in reference to Aaron Judge, who went through the same thing, who played an entire season without a contract, looking toward free agency at the end of the season. And Aaron said it was never an issue with Aaron Judge, and I don't think it's going to be an issue with Vladdy Guerrero Jr. He is in a good spot. And Aaron Boone said, you know, Aaron Judge played for the team that year, and he had a great year, and he was rewarded. He elected to go free agency. He went out there and sought many of the offers and then came back and signed with the Yankees. I mean, that's still a possibility for Vladdy as well.
Certainly is, as Everson Pereira is the leadoff hitter for the Yankees this inning. Yeah, it's always a possibility that you go to the market and you just see what teams are offering, and then you and the Blue Jays as well can figure out what they're comfortable with.
Well, you know, Vladdy is exactly what you want in free agency. He's young. He knows the market. He's loved by the fans. He was born in Montreal. I mean, there's everything you want, and I just think it's difficult to find somebody that you can replace him with. I think he's irreplaceable. That's my opinion.
Opinion of a lot of people, as Everson Pereira gets hit by a pitch there that ran in. So he'll go down to first.
But, you know, Vladdy is in a different spot than he's been the last couple of years. Even last year, he turned into a man. He's a leader. This is his ball club. He knows what he has to do to represent himself and his team. And he also feels proud to represent Toronto and Canada.
First pitch strike to Spencer Jones, big prospect for the Yankees.
Big prospect indeed. He's 6'6".
Where are they finding all these guys? Everyone around them is 6'5" and up.
Well, one thing he's got to do is he's got to cut down the strikeouts. He had 200 strikeouts in Double-A last year in 122 games. But boy, oh boy, you get intrigued by his physique. He's got great speed. He's a good outfielder. He's got a strong arm. There's a lot of positive things to be impressed by, and I wouldn't worry about the strikeouts just yet.
Called strike three. He punches out there on a front hip breaking ball, and Jones is the first out.
Well, one thing that Pete Walker has noticed in his early experiment with Lucas is that he throws strikes. He said he knows who he is. He knows what his stuff is. And he saw him in 2 appearances last year in relief pitching for the Blue Jays.
George Lombard Jr. hits it foul off the top of the Blue Jays dugout fence. 0-1.
George Lombard Jr., of course, his father is the bench coach for the Tigers, and he was a #1 pick just 2 seasons ago. Good-looking player. Put up decent numbers in his second season of pro ball.
Swing and a miss and a snap throw to first. I think the runner was back in time anyway, but Vlad couldn't hold on. And George Lombard did play in the majors as well. Had some time with the Braves, Tigers, Rays, and Nationals.
Long-time coach with the Dodgers. He was a terrific coach for L.A., and now he's the bench coach for A.J. Hinch in Detroit.
Lombard Jr. coming off a season split between A and high A. A little bit light in terms of the batting average, but one thing he can really do is run. He stole almost 40 bases. The 1-2. High and outside. Slightly more grueling inning for Easton Lucas. Threw only 10 pitches in the first, has thrown 12 pitches here in the second. Now he'll check on the base runner Everson Pereira. Strike 3 again, back-to-back punch-outs for Lucas. He's looked really good through an inning and 2/3.
Yeah, he's got a great delivery. Right now, he's throwing out of the stretch because he's been a reliever most of his career, but I love the way he attacks the strike zone. Breaking ball, back door, received well by Kirk, and he had 10 pitches in the first inning. He's been very efficient and very aggressive early.
All 3 of his strikeouts have come on his cut fastball, by the way. There's a first pitch strike. This is Ismael Munguia over from the San Francisco system last year. You can see he had a pretty nice year between AA and AAA. One. Hit foul, and again, Lucas ahead, 0-2.
Ben, you know what happens when you throw a lot of strikes? Hitters have to expand their strike zone. They have to swing the bat, and they don't have the luxury of laying back and getting a pitch down the middle to hit. That's what Pete Walker is constantly preaching to his pitchers. Be the aggressor. Put the pressure on the hitter. By throwing strike 1, strike 2, now the hitter becomes very, very defensive.
Hit softly on the ground at third base. Clement has it, and that's another scoreless frame for Easton Lucas. 1-0 Blue Jays after an inning and a half on a beautiful day in Dunedin, Florida.
Hola, soy Conrado González de Garantiza Futuro. Tengo más de 38 años en el mercado financiero. Asesores financieros, contadores y abogados, todo bajo un solo techo. Inversiones, seguros, bancarrota, modificaciones, testamento, reparación de crédito, contabilidad, impuestos. Contamos con el mejor equipo de profesionales que te conseguirán tu libertad financiera.
Beck Chevrolet offers a large inventory of new and certified pre-owned Chevy, available at great prices that work for you, and plenty of models to pick from. And they fly too. What? They don't do that. No, but it would be pretty cool if they did.
Stop by Beck Chevrolet today to find your brand new or certified pre-owned Chevy.
To be fair, that would be pretty cool. I know, right?
Beck Chevrolet on the corner of Yonkers and Central Park Avenue, across from Empire Casino, and at beckchevrolet.com.
Superstar center fielder Julio Rodriguez. I think he's one of the faces of the game.
This kid is special beyond words. Julio Rodriguez, listen, at the end of the day, this guy's a superstar.
Impossibly! Oh, what a play by Julio Rodriguez!
What a life! This is the man right here.
I feel like we were a pretty good spot to compete.
Another historic chapter!
at one.
The 2025 Blue Jays promotion schedule launched today, and there are tons of exciting promotions to check out this season. Start with the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Silver Slugger bobblehead by being one of the first 15,000 fans at the ballpark on Monday, March 31st. Get your tickets at bluejays.com/promotions. A lot of new, fresh promotions for the Blue Jays coming out this year. Ernie Clement back with the Blue Jays, and he takes a pitch outside from Rodon. Interesting to think back to a year ago about right now. Ernie Clement, a question mark for the Blue Jays as he pelts a ball foul. A guy who was out of options, who had a huge camp and played his way onto the roster, and then once getting on the roster, played his way into a second half starting role.
Yeah, he really played well. First time in his career he had a chance to play on a regular basis, and he certainly made the most of it. There's a good changeup from Rodon. You know, Ernie, he had 434 at-bats, more than he's ever had. And there's David Popkins talking with Bo in the dugout. And Ernie gets himself a base hit.
Classic Clement line drive right up the middle.
But yeah, Ernie feels pretty good about where he's at in this spring. He knows he's still has to prove himself, and he's ready to do that. He can play third, of course, and he's more than likely going to be a backup at shortstop, as opposed to moving Jimenez to short when Bo doesn't play short. Ernie Clement will probably play short in a backup situation.
First pitch to David Schneider is strike one. Schneider and Clement living together again during spring training as they did last year, with no Spencer Horwitz now in the organization, as Clement takes off and swipes second.
Ernie was 12 for 15 in steals a year ago. He is the fastest guy on the team, and he's got good speed, and now with regular playing time, he has a better feel about when he can steal and when he can be most effective. We saw the benefit of a stolen base in the first inning when Jimenez stole second and scored on Guerrero's base hit.
Blue Jays are testing Rodon and Rice early. David Popkins did tell me today, we want to be able to score in a lot of ways. If you score in one way or two ways, teams can shut you down. Maybe speed is one of those ways. The Blue Jays are going to do it. Schneider lifts the ball to right field, settling under it Duke Ellis. And he'll make the catch. Clement is going to try to advance here. Ellis airs it out, and Clement gets in there. That was a risk, but you take your gambles in the spring, and it paid off for Ernie Clement.
Well, it's the mindset that they want to instill on this entire offense. Be aggressive. Take some chances. And they've practiced base running all throughout the early days of the spring. So Clement with good speed goes back and tags up. It's a medium fly ball to right. The throw is offline, and Ernie's in safely. So now that forces the Yankees to play the infield in.
Nathan Lucas taken down and away, 1-0. Really good finish to the year for Nathan Lucas last year. Came up in the last couple weeks of the season. You can see there he raked in his time as a Blue Jay.
Yeah, he's hit everywhere he's played. He's just never had a real good opportunity to play in the big leagues. He hit in college, he hit in the minor leagues, and whenever he gets a chance to get to the big leagues, he comes up with good at-bats. He and Will Wagner are very similar in their approach, where they put the bat on the ball, then they are always a tough out.
He's got a very legitimate shot, does Lucas, to be on this ball club. There's probably at least one outfield spot open, and maybe to start the year you could say two with Dalton Varsho still returning.
And this is one thing Lucas does very well. He's got a good eye at the plate. He's not trying to force things. He knows he has to get a good pitch to hit, and especially in a situation like this where he can drive in a run.
Check swing there. They say didn't hit Lucas, and coming to the plate is Clement. He'll score. So it's ball four. Thought for a second it might have tipped him. Wild pitch makes it 2-0 as Lucas heads down to first.
Early in the spring, his first game obviously, but a couple of stolen bases, an advance on a fly ball to right, and the Blue Jays have turned it into 2 runs. That is another situation where the catcher just reacted very late. That ball is not that far away from the catcher, and it goes off his mitt back to the backstop.
Now maybe the most intriguing player in camp for the Blue Jays, at least for some, Aurelvis Martinez, is at the plate for the first time, DHing today. He hits the ball hard, stopped at third by Cabrera. He'll throw to second for 1 and over to first. That's a double play to end the inning. Blue Jays tack on another thanks to the speed and base running of Ernie Clement. It's 2-0 Toronto after 2.
At Sleep Country, we know that for every reason that keeps us awake,
Beck Chevrolet offers a large inventory of new and certified pre-owned Chevy, available at great prices that work for you, and plenty of models to pick from. And they fly too! What? They don't do that.
No, but it would be pretty cool if they did. Stop by Beck Chevrolet today to find your brand new or certified pre-owned Chevy.
To be fair, that would be pretty cool. I know, right?
Beck Chevrolet on the corner of Yonkers and Central Park Avenue, across from Empire Casino, and at beckchevrolet.com.
The Angels select Michael Trout.
It's a dream come true.
He plays like a Hall of Famer.
One of the greatest players of all time.
That ball in, routed here.
And just drink this in.
He's not even close to being done.
I come to the ballpark every day trying to get better.
Generational player.
Ball's crushed.
He's rocking and rolling.
Well, it's his world.
Top tank for Mike Trout.
A different kind of juice when you see an all-time great player.
Beck Chevrolet offers a large inventory of new and certified pre-owned Chevy, available at great prices that work for you, and plenty of models to pick from. And they fly too! What? They don't do that.
Hockey Night in Canada returns tonight as Mitch Marner and the Toronto Maple Leafs take on Jacob Slavin and the Carolina Hurricanes. Don't miss the action at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific on Sportsnet Ontario, Sportsnet Pacific, and CBC.
That's got to be a little bit of a downer after 4 Nations.
I know.
It's like you're playing the Stanley Cup, and then all of a sudden it's another exhibition game when it's actually a regular season game. That was terrific.
It was such an event, a lot of fun for both Canadian and American hockey fans. And now as Canadians and Americans meet to watch baseball, there's a new pitcher on the mound. It's Brendan Little.
Yeah, Brendan Little, he had quite a season last year with the Blue Jays, appeared in 49 games, and he's got the best sinking fastball on the team. He's got a terrific sinker. His goal this spring is to have more consistency with his cutter and his curveball. Give him something he can throw for strikes if he should happen to miss with that 2-seam fastball.
1-0 to Braden Shoemake is hooked to first, backhanded by Vlad, and a good cover by Little.
And Vladdy got kind of a tricky hop right at the end, but he stayed with it and was very focused on picking it up and made a good feed at Little.
He also had the benefit of Andres Jimenez hooking behind him.
Watch how this ball bounces, kind of an awkward bounce, and puts Vladdy on his knees, but he gets up and flips in time.
So quick out for Little, who was such a prominent reliever for the Blue Jays last year, but actually didn't make the team out of camp. Started the year as the third lefty behind Meza and Cabrera. Really stuck after he came up in June. First pitch strike against Duke Ellis. Ellis, mostly a minor leaguer last year, did appear with the White Sox and Yankees for 11 total games, and a lot of practice for Vlad at first. He gets another grounder and an awkward play, but everyone's all right.
Yeah, when you're playing behind Brendan Little, you better be prepared to have a ground ball hit in your direction because he's going to hit a lot of ground balls. Vladdy's had a couple in this inning, and Little, he can get some ground balls, and this is a bang-bang play. I think Vladdy got surprised by the speed of Ellis hustling down the line and goes, whoa, that was close.
He gave a thumbs up, so everyone's all right. And he gets an extra second here to calm the heart rate as the top of the order comes back up for the Yankees in Ben Rice. Two outs on 4 pitches for Brendan Little.
Again, it's exactly what you want to do if you're a reliever. Come out of the bullpen and throw strikes. Each time you throw an additional pitch to a batter, he has a little more information on what you're featuring on that given day. So you come in, you throw strikes early, it forces them to make contact, and he's got 2 quick outs here. Very, very efficient.
There's another strike. It's 0-2. Strong first 2 innings for Easton Lucas. Now Little trying to make it a third scoreless. 0-2. Couldn't get him to chase in the dirt. Strike 3 for Brendan Little and a 1-2-3 inning for the lefty. Great Blue Jays pitching thus far, and that's part of the reason they're up 2-0 at the middle of the third.
Beck Chevrolet offers a large inventory of new and certified pre-owned Chevys, available at great prices that work for you, and plenty of models to pick from. And they fly too! What? They don't do that. No, but it would be pretty cool if they did.
Stop by Beck Chevrolet today to find your brand new or certified pre-owned Chevy.
To be fair, that would be pretty cool. I know, right?
Beck Chevrolet on the corner of Yonkers and Central Park Avenue, across from Empire Casino, and at beckchevrolet.com.
If you're a baseball player and you want to watch just sheer joy in the way to play the baseball game, Jose Ramirez, look no further.
Every time he's locked and makes contact, it's a homer.
Jose Ramirez.
Wow! When you are a star player, it is not just home runs, it's all the things you do. That's the beauty of the sport.
Jose Ramirez putting on the Ritz.
Oh, that was outstanding.
What better for the game of baseball?
This is a ace. This is a franchise turner.
I'm ready to compete.
He struck him out 100 miles an hour.
He has not disappointed.
Even playing in Wrigley Field is super humbling.
101 in the zone.
His dominance in the strike zone, it's incredible.
The bottom line, it's just a game. The hitters have weaknesses.
11 strikeouts for Skeen. 6 innings of no-hit baseball.
They are knocking on the door of completely turning this franchise around.
Paul Skeen, what a man.
Drafting well is always important, and in respect, Chris Bassett did not have his best year. 4-10 in the Blue Jays Fantasy League that Commissioner and Green Bay Packer fan Dalton Varsho runs, and this is the punishment for last place, Buck.
Yeah, man, Chris Bassett, he's a good sport about it, of course. He's going to play the game, and he went 4-10, and he knew that he was going to be the bat boy for the opening day. So, you know, that's what this team has. They got a real good chemistry. A lot of guys that get along really well, and that's a big step in the right direction for sure.
The order for the Blue Jays, Bo Bichette grounded out on the first pitch he saw in the first inning. It's obviously a very tight-knit rotation as well, a lot of carryover. Bichette hits it foul, 1-1. And then you take that tight-knit rotation and you add the future Hall of Famer Max Scherzer, who's also a former teammate of Bassett's.
Yeah, and Scherzer yesterday threw a live batting practice session, and I watched him warm up, and it was as if he's warming up for Game 7 of the World Series. He's amazing. I mean, he is so focused and so intense. You know, since 2018, Max Scherzer has dealt with injury after injury after injury and hasn't been able to stay focused, but he's in a good spot right now. Anthony Santander talking with Victor Martinez about hitting, and Victor is here every single day. And when you have a guy like that, experienced and obviously bilingual, can talk to anybody about hitting. And he's such a great resource. And the hitters are so anxious to talk to him. Victor, too, had a little bit of an input in Santander's signing here, both from Venezuela. He Told him about the situation in Toronto and how strong it is, what a good organization. And Victor is invaluable in his presence.
What a monster he was as a player.
Yeah, and you know what, too? I think more teams need to do that. Go back and lean on those guys that have been there and done that. And Victor always reminds these guys, hey, be who you are. Be Anthony Santander. You can't be Miguel Cabrera. Victor said, I couldn't be Miguel Cabrera. I had to be Victor.
Nice play over at short by Lombard, but the throw's wide, and Bichette's going to take off for second. It was a tough play for a young shortstop in Lombard, and in fairness to him, it did hit the glove of the first baseman, Dom Smith, but rolled away.
Yeah, and Lombard just got a little bit of a rush, and it was hit so hard it got to him very quickly. You watch his reaction, boom, it's hit hard, makes a nice play, and then got a little bit of a rush, throws off the mark, and Bo's able to go to second on the throwing error by the shortstop.
They gave Bichette a single on the play. He advances to second on an error, and Andres Jimenez steps up. He bunts, and bunts it foul.
I wish I had that scorekeeper when I played.
You would have won some batting titles.
That was a very liberal hit, I'll give you that.
Well, it's spring. We tend to stay positive.
You can see Jimenez. Here we are in game one of the spring, thinking about advancing Bo from second to third, take off advantage of that air.
It's drawn Cabrera in from third. Now he's swinging away. It's 0-2.
Trying to pull the ball. Now here's where you really have to give up this at bat. You have to understand that with 2 strikes, going to be difficult to get a base hit. But if you do make contact, you got to hit it on the right side of the infield. You got to move Bo from second to third.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Got a piece of it, but not enough. And for Rodon, that's his first punch out. Still an opportunity here for the Blue Jays to score with Bichette on second and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at the plate. Ground ball hit to third. High hop, but Cabrera has it. And that's a quick out to make it 2 down. Still a runner on second. It's tantalizing to think, Buck, about what the Blue Jays could have if the top years of Vlad and Bo sync up again. You saw that, I think, in 2021, but then it's felt at times while one was having a better season, the other wasn't lining up with it. What do you think the team would be if they really had both these guys going full throttle at once?
Yeah, and I think that's a very good possibility. Obviously, they've played their entire career as professionals together. And when you look at the Blue Jays, they have a lot of room for improvement. And Bo, people forget that Bo was on the verge of leading the American League in 3 straight seasons in hits when he had a knee injury late in the season 2 years ago. And, you know, he's led the league twice in hits. He's one of the best hitters in the league. He gets on base a lot, and he can hit tough pitching. So you just want him to get back to being a healthy Bo Bichette.
2-0 to Alejandro Kirk. High ball 3.
You know, and you talk about the power. Blue Jays hit just 156 home runs. That was 13th in the American League. So you can't really manufacture power just because you want to swing harder. You got to have the people that are power hitters.
That one hit pretty hard to left field, and Bichette's going to get the wave around third. Throw to the plate from Monguia. Here's offline, and Kirk makes it 3-0.
Blue Jays have done a good job of playing situational baseball early in this ball game. And Alejandro Kirk comes up with a big 2-out base hit. And he's swinging the bat well. Bo reached on an infield hit, advanced on the air, and then scores from second base on the base hit by Kirk. Throw was offline. He slides in safely.
That's going to end the day of Carlos Rodon. Blue Jays scored 3 on him in 2 2/3 and lead 3-0 in the bottom of the third.
The
Beck Chevrolet offers a large inventory of new and certified pre-owned Chevys, available at great prices that work for you, and plenty of models to pick from. And they fly too. What? They don't do that. No, but it would be pretty cool if they did.
Stop by Beck Chevrolet today to find your brand new or certified pre-owned Chevy.
To be fair, that would be pretty cool. I know, right?
Beck Chevrolet on the corner of Yonkers and Central Park Avenue, across from Empire Casino, and at beckchevrolet.com.
Rafael Devers stands in the batter's box, and he's a ribby machine. This guy drives in 100 runs a year. In his sleep, his bat plays.
He has earned his place among the elite hitters in the game.
Rafi Devers strikes again.
He is spectacular.
He's a franchise-type player. Devers' offense is legit.
Out of sight.
He just mashes.
Ridiculous.
Rafi. Marcus Lynn Betts, best player on the planet.
I love watching Mookie play.
On the Hall of Fame highway.
It's a blessing to have those expectations.
Goodness, and that one is gonna go. Mookie Betts, what a monster.
Got some more unfinished business to take care of.
Are you kidding me?
I try and do the best that I can in anything that I can control.
Nothing on a baseball field that Mookie Betts does not excel at.
Mookie Magic.
New pitcher for the Yankees, Harrison Cohen, in the game to try and get the Yankees through this bottom of the third inning where the Blue Jays have scored again. It's 3-0 Toronto with 2 outs and Alejandro Kirk on first.
Yep, Cohen is 25 years old. He signed out of George Washington University in Washington, D.C. He is a New York State resident, grew up in New Hyde Park, New York.
It's on Long Island. Joey Locrofito takes low.
no structural damage. That's good news. Swanson telling me he's not concerned at all and continues to work hard to catch up. Guys.
Thank you, Hazel. And the unfortunate part of spring is a lot of guys make the team because of performance, but you're also going to have injuries help shape your roster no matter which team you are.
Yeah, Eric Swanson's fine. I watched him throw his side session yesterday. He is beyond that forearm trouble that happened early in the spring. He got down here in January and started throwing, and he felt some soreness in his forearm. Shut it down for a couple of weeks, and now he's built back up to the point where his bullpen sessions have been terrific. Throwing hard again. He's got a splitter back, and he's really trying to master a cutter and a slider, a breaking ball to give him another dimension.
Pitch to Spencer Jones. Hit foul 0-1.
The Blue Jays, obviously, when you think about their bullpen last year, they had a bad season. Their ERA was 15th in the American League. They were 12th in opponents' batting average. The WHIP was 12th. Not many strikeouts, but now with the addition of Hoffman, Jimmy Garcia coming back, and healthy Eric Swanson, Chad Green, and now Sandlin. Sandlin's going to be an interesting guy because, as I mentioned, he's a sidearm pitcher with a very good split, and he doesn't give up anything. And he's not an overpowering guy, not a big guy, but boy, he's got good stuff and a very difficult angle. It's totally different than anybody else in their bullpen.
Just outside on that pitch, and Alejandro Kirk has tapped his helmet. He would like the automatic ball and strike system, or automated ball and strike system, to take a look at this one.
Yeah, and we're seeing where it is, and it just barely on this scoreboard missed outside. 1-1. So now the Blue Jays lose that one challenge. You can see it's a half an inch off the plate outside. So that's what you want to do. And obviously in spring training, you're going to do it as often as you can. Pitchers, catchers, and batters are the only ones that can challenge a pitch, and it can't come from the dugout. The dugout has no input on whether or not a pitch is to be challenged.
Which is one of my favorite parts, because I think the worst thing about reviews is all the time you're waiting and they're looking at the video. Now it's right away.
It was quick.
And we know.
And two, I asked Casey Candell about it, who was the manager in AAA for the Bisons, and he said they use the challenge the first 3 games of every series. In AAA, they play 6-game series. They play all week long against the same team. And in the second 3 games, they use the automatic ball strike system, where every pitch is called by the technology. He said that's terrible. He said it takes too long. Games were all of a sudden going 4.5 hours. But he likes the challenge system.
High drive by Spencer Jones, and it just got fouled. Jones is a guy with big power. Let's take a look, though, for a little bit more on ABS. So if you keep getting challenges right, you can challenge as many times as you want, but you can only miss twice in a game. And like you were saying, Buck, no assistance from the dugout.
Yeah, and the thing is, pitchers and catchers can challenge, and then the batter, of course. But a lot of managers, I think, are going to discourage the pitcher from trying to challenge because they deliver a pitch on the move. They look back and see the catcher jerk the ball back into the strike zone, and every pitch is going to look like a strike.
Right.
So I think they're going to really focus on the catchers calling most of the challenges for the pitchers.
I asked John Schneider if he had a preference, and he joked. He said he doesn't really care, except Bassett's not allowed to challenge his own pitches. Pereira off on the pitch, and it's outside ball 4. So the inning continues.
Yeah, and Bassett falls off the mound. It's very difficult for a pitcher to deliver a pitch. You know, having caught as long as I did, I know that a lot of pitchers would say, that was a good pitch. And then I go back in the dugout. I said, no, that was off the plate. You were just falling through your delivery. And when you saw it last, it looked like a good pitch.
What was Dave Stieb like when you told him that the pitch that he thought was a strike was a ball?
Yeah, he would always argue the point anyway. But yeah, he was awesome. I love Dave. He was terrific, and probably the pitcher I like catching the most. He was such a challenge. He was so competitive.
First pitch strike to George Lombard Jr. Pereira on second base after an infield hit that went off the glove of Zach Pop, and then a walk to Spencer Jones.
You see Kirk come out of his crouch behind home plate because he'd put on a pickoff play with Vladdy Guerrero at first base. And the ball was a breaking ball, and that's a good pitch to throw to first base on because it's breaking away from the batter. You can move in that direction on the start, and Vladdy was on the move. He had broken in behind the runner, but the pitch was fouled out.
Spencer Jones leading off first, Everson Pereira at second. And time asked for by the batter, Lombard. The 0-2. Pumped foul, and we'll do it again. Lefty Mason Fluharty getting loose for the Blue Jays. Intriguing guy warming up here as Zach Pop is about to deliver his 20th pitch of the inning. Pardon me, his 19th. Lombard Jr. battling against Zach Pop. A really young player, 19 years old right now, will turn 20 at midseason. Bounces a ball to the right side, Jimenez after it, and he just gets Lombard to end the inning. Smooth sailing for the Blue Jays. So smooth you might just want to get out on the ocean. A very nice day in Florida and a great day for baseball.
Beck Chevrolet offers a large inventory of new and certified pre-owned Chevy, available at great prices that work for you, and plenty of models to pick from. And they fly too. What? They don't do that. No, but it would be pretty cool if they did.
Stop by Beck Chevrolet today to find your brand new or certified pre-owned Chevy.
To be fair, that would be pretty cool. I know, right?
Beck Chevrolet on the corner of Yonkers and Central Park Avenue, across from Empire Casino, and at beckchevrolet.com.
Bryce Harper is special. He's got a flair for the dramatic.
Bryce Harper for me is must-see TV.
You can't take your eyes off him.
We all love his feistiness.
Every time it's a big moment, Bryce Harper comes through.
That's what you always dream of, to put a city on your back and do that for your team.
He did it again! It is Bedlam in the bank!
One of the coolest sports moments ever.
Rafael Devers stands in the batter's box, and he's a ribby machine. This guy drives in 100 runs a year. In his sleep, his bat plays.
He has earned his place among the elite hitters in the game.
Rafi Devers strikes again.
He is spectacular.
He's a franchise-type player. Devers' offense is legit.
Out of sight!
He just mashes.
Ridiculous.
Oh, Rafi!
It's an all-Canadian clash tonight in Ottawa as the Canadians visit the Senators. Coverage begins at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific on Sportsnet East and City TV. All 8,500 seats just about filled here at TD Ballpark as Brandon Liebrandt comes on for the Yankees, pitching against Davis Schneider.
Yeah, Charlie is Brandon's dad, of course, who pitched in the big leagues for a long time. And Brandon has had 2 different stints in the major leagues, a total of just 7 games. He drafted by the Philadelphia Phillies in 2014 out of high school, and then actually that was when he was drafted by the Phillies. He was drafted by Tampa Bay out of high school in 2011. Pitched at Florida State.
Hot shot off of his wrist, bounces over to second base, and Schumann makes the play there, 1 out. I'd like to welcome those Yankees fans and viewers watching on the Gotham Sports app today, in addition to our viewers north of the border and all around the world on Sportsnet. Ben Schulman, Buck Martinez, and Hazel May on hand, and they're just making sure that Brandon Liebrandt is all right. That was a tough play as that hit him right in the wrist.
Yeah, he deflected it a bit and probably cost David Schneider a base hit. But they mentioned Charlie Liebrandt and his father, and Charlie, of course, pitched a long time in the big leagues. Originally drafted by the Cincinnati Reds, and majority of his career was spent in Kansas City. Did a great job for the Royals when he ended up pitching in Atlanta and finished up in 1993 with the Texas Rangers.
Nathan Lucas with a big swing and a miss, 1-1. Swing and a fly ball center field. Tracking it down, Jones makes the catch, 2 down. You wouldn't have overlapped with Charlie in Kansas City, but you would have played against him, I would assume, as a Blue Jay?
Yeah, he played in 84 through 89 in Kansas City, and 84, 85, and 86 I played against Charlie Liebrandt. Started out his career with the Reds. Won 140 games. He was a good pitcher. Pitched against the Blue Jays in the playoffs in 1985. And he had a good career.
His son now dealing to Aurelvis Martinez, who's 0 for 1. Tough year last year for Martinez, having to miss a lot of the season, serving the suspension that he had. Notable, though, that when he came back, he finished the year very strong for the Buffalo Bisons, and maybe some momentum generated coming into this season.
Yeah, obviously he made a mistake, and he paid the price for it, and now he's trying to start all over here with the Blue Jays. That was an unfortunate situation for the Blue Jays as well, because had he been healthy, at least he would have played a full season AAA, and maybe, we know he made his debut in the big leagues, but it was just one game, but maybe he plays the second half of the season and you have a better idea what you might have.
Just smoked the ball out to right field, going back. Ellis looking up, it's gone. That's what he can provide. Big power from Aurelvis Martinez and the first home run of the Blue Jays spring.
Well, Aurelvis is a pretty special young man, just 23 years old, and you hit the ball in that direction that hard, that really serves you well because it gives you that much longer to decide if it's a pitch you want to go after. And look who's there at the top step to welcome him back in the dugout. This is a good swing on a pitch away from him, not trying to pull it, not trying to generate power. He just hit it where it was thrown, and he hits it out of the ballpark.
It wasn't a bad pitch from Liebrandt, maybe even a hair out of the zone. But Aurelvis did a lot of damage on that one, and now Bo Bichette up. The 1-1 down the left field line, fair ball. Chugging around first, he's going into second. The throw is late. And Bo Bichette has a double.
2 for 3 in his first game, and he is looking like Bo already. So he's going to be lifted for a pinch runner as he gets his 3 at-bats, and Josh Kasevich comes in to pinch run for him. But this is vintage Bo Bichette. He gets the ball down and in and hooks it down the left field line. You know, he had the 2 calf injuries last season. I asked him, I said, you do anything different this offseason? He said, yeah, I really focused on flexibility and strength. He said, I want to stay as limber as I can, trying to avoid a recurrence of those calf injuries. Twice he was on the IL.
And outside of that injury-plagued year, he's been as consistent, really, as any Blue Jay over the last couple seasons. Jimenez hooks it down the line. Diving stop by Smith. It's going to be a tough play, but it's a good one. Smith to Liebrandt to end the inning. The first Blue Jays home run of the 2025 spring comes from one of their most highly touted prospects. Aurelvis Martinez goes up to make it 4-0.
Hola, Soy Conrado González de Garantiza Futuro. Tengo más de 38 años en el mercado financiero. Asesores financieros, contadores y abogados, todo bajo un solo techo. Inversiones, seguros, bancarrota, modificaciones, testamento, reparación de crédito, contabilidad, impuestos. Contamos con el mejor equipo de profesionales que te conseguirán tu libertad financiera.
Beck Chevrolet offers a large inventory of new and certified pre-owned Chevy, available at great prices that work for you, and plenty of models to pick from. And they fly too. What? They don't do that. No, but it would be pretty cool if they did.
Stop by Beck Chevrolet today to find your brand new or certified pre-owned Chevy.
To be fair, that would be pretty cool. I know, right?
Beck Chevrolet on the corner of Yonkers and Central Park Avenue, across from Empire Casino, and at beckchevrolet.com.
Expect Jackson Churio of the Brewers to be a first-year phenom.
I mean, the tool set is just incredible.
You just run out of adjectives to describe the kid.
First big league homer for Jim.
as a 16-year-old in the qualifier. Brazil has actually been in the tournament back in 2013 in Japan, managed by Barry Larkin at that point.
The 1-2. In the air, deep left field. Back is R.J. Schreck on the warning track, leaps at the wall, it's gone. A 2-run swing on the ABS challenge. Spencer Jones leaves the yard, and the Blue Jay lead cut in half.
Yeah, that was pretty good use of that challenge by the hitter. He said, I think that's outside, and why not take a chance with 2 strikes, 2 outs in the inning, and that gives Spencer Jones an opportunity. And there you can see the power that's intriguing for the Yankees. Young guy is 6'6", and he hit a fly ball out of the ballpark to the opposite field.
George Lombard Jr. takes down and away 1-0. If it's anything like last spring training, it'll be full of highlights this year for Jones, who hit a 470-foot homer on his first swing last spring. Jonathan Lavalley is getting loose now. The Blue Jays just allowed their first runs of the game. '21st pitch of the inning for Pardinho. Hit back up the middle on the ground. Long run, and it's off the glove of Stefanik. Michael Stefanik with the Blue Jays this spring training. Over from the Angels, and they call that one a base hit. He did have a long way to go.
Interesting how the inning turned around. Looked like Pardinho was out of it with a called third strike. The Yankee hitter challenged it. It's ball 4, and now a 2-run home run and an infield single.
That prompts Sally Sanchez to go out and talk to Eric Pardinho, who probably doesn't have a ton longer in terms of pitch count, already over 20 pitches in the inning. Single to left field for Ismael Munguia last time he came up. Left in scoring position in the 5th. If you weren't with us a couple minutes ago, though, it was a strikeout to end the inning until the challenge. Walk continued the inning as Pereira got down to first. Jones homered, and then an infield single. Hit foul, it's 1-2.
Pardinho's done a good job of throwing strikes. He's come in and looked like he was out of the inning, and then just come right back and thrown some strikes.
Throw over to first, and he almost had the base runner Lombard a little too far off the bat. Miss up top with a fastball, 2-2.
Yeah, Pardinho, he made a couple of good moves over to first base. Lombard's bouncing off the base like he wants to run, but I think he's vulnerable to being picked off. If he chooses the wrong time to bounce, he could get picked off.
Takes off on the pitch, and it's hit foul. That can't be fun. You've been sizing a pitcher up for 4 pitches, and when you finally go, guy hits it foul up the third baseline.
Yeah, he had a good jump. This is his first spring training camp with the Yankees.
Got to be a pretty big vote of confidence when you're 19 and you're in Major League spring training.
Yeah, he was the #1 pick a couple years ago in 2023. His dad's been telling me about Junior for a long time. He said Junior's going to be a good player, and here he is in the big league camp.
Ground ball hit over the head of Tirada. Fair ball down the right field line. Lombard burning it around the bases, headed around third and trying to score. Headed to third is Munguia, and it's a one-run ball game on an RBI triple.
Yeah, Pardinho throws a breaking ball down, and then it's bounced down the first base line, and it's going to go all the way into the corner. He's going to end up at third base as Lombard scores all the way from first base on the 2-out triple, and Pardinho will be removed from the ball game. We'll have a new pitcher when we come back.
Corey Seager, all eyes on him.
He's ready to go. He's aggressive.
Here's a dude that swings 52% of the time on first pitches.
Corey Seager smashes a ball.
The ability to be able to come together and compete every night. You know, that's what it's all about at this point for me.
Corey Seager does it again.
This guy is doing it all. He's hitting bombs all the time.
Expect Jackson Churio or the Brewers to be a first-year phenom.
I mean, the tool set is just incredible.
You just run out of adjectives to describe the kid.
First big league homer for Jackson Churio.
He's having so much fun. That team is having so much fun.
So much to like about this kid right here. The loft, the juice, everything's there. He hits well beyond his age.
He's figured it out.
Baseball, Jackson Churio.
The Angels select Michael Trout.
It's a dream come true.
He plays like a Hall of Famer.
One of the greatest players of all time.
That ball in, round ahead.
And just drink this in. He's not even close to being done.
I come to the ballpark every day trying to get better.
Generational player.
Ball's crushed.
He's rocking and rolling.
Well, it's his world.
Top tank for Mike Trout.
A different kind of juice when you see an all-time great player.
Only in theaters February 28th.
It's a Western Conference battle as the Central Division leading Jets and Connor Hellebuck take on Jordan Binnington and the Blues in St. Louis. Check it out tonight at 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central on Sportsnet West. Jonathan Lavallee into the game for the Blue Jays, trying to finish off this inning that's turned into a productive one for the Yankees. 3 runs scored.
Yeah, it looked like Pardinho was going to have a 3-up, 3-down inning, and then that challenge went against him.
First pitch to Braden Shoemake is hit foul.
Lavallee is 25 years old. He pitched last year in Vancouver and had a good year. Had 28 appearances in Vancouver and then moved up to New Hampshire AA, made 12 more appearances there, and he got the chance to pitch in the Arizona Fall League. In Scottsdale and had a good Fall League. 10 1/3 total innings, had a very good ERA of 1.74. Long Beach State product, drafted out of Cal State Long Beach, 16th round pick in 2021.
Been with the Twins for a bit. They let him go, and the Blue Jays picked him up February of last year. Generates the ground ball he needed to get out of the inning, and the Blue Jays maintain the lead. 4-3 is the score. Bottom of the 6th coming up from Dunedin on Sportsnet.
Closed captioning is brought.
Superstar center fielder Julio Rodriguez.
I think he's one of the faces of the game.
This kid is special beyond words. Julio Rodriguez, listen, at the end of the day, guys, this guy's a superstar.
Impossibly. Oh, what a play by Julio Rodriguez. What a life.
This is the man right here.
I feel like we were pretty good spot to compete.
Another hit
This is a ace. This is a franchise turner.
Ready to compete.
He struck him out 100 miles an hour.
He has not disappointed.
Even playing in Wrigley Field, it is super humbling.
101 in the zone.
His dominance in the strike zone, it's incredible.
Bottom line, it's just a game. The hitters have weaknesses.
11 strikeouts for Skeen. 6 innings of no-hit baseball.
They are knocking on the door of completely turning this franchise around.
Paul Skeen, what a man. Marcus Lynn Betts, best player on the planet.
I love watching Mookie play.
On the Hall of Fame highway.
It's a blessing to have those expectations.
Goodness. And that one is going to go. Mookie Betts, what a monster.
Got some more unfinished business to take care of.
Are you kidding me?
I try and do the best that I can in anything that I can control.
Nothing on a baseball field that Mookie Betts does not excel at.
Mookie Magic.
The 2025 promotion schedule launched today, including City Connect Friday, a schedule where there's something exciting every Friday home game. On Friday, March 28th, be one of the first 15,000 fans and receive a Bobish layered City Connect replica jersey. Visit BlueJays.com/promotions to get your tickets. Ben Schulman, Buck Martinez, and Hazel May on hand. Charlie Leibrandt out for a third inning of work for the Yankees, and the first at-bat of the spring for Charles McAdoo. I remember last year, around the deadline, the Blue Jays made the trade to Pittsburgh. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa went that way. McAdoo came back. And Buck, if I remember right, you were pretty intrigued at the time of what McAdoo could bring. As he hits a ball high and deep to center field. And it's just going to get run down in center, but I guess we can see what's intriguing about McAdoo.
Yeah, I've watched Charles all spring long, and he's got some pop in that bat. Third baseman, and he's a pretty intriguing guy, very talented. And the Blue Jays did a nice job of picking up some talent, adding to their depth in those trades. And you can see he just missed hitting a home run in his first at bat in spring training. He's got a quick bat. He's got a strong arm defensively from third base, and it's going to be interesting watching him through the rest of this spring.
Fly ball, by the way, tracked down by new center fielder Jackson Castillo. Here's R.J. Schreck coming off a very nice season in the Blue Jays system. Schreck, a Los Angeles native, drafted out of Vanderbilt by the Seattle Mariners, and he smokes the ball to right field, but that one's going to get caught as well. Good contact. Nothing to show for it for the Blue Jays.
Now, Schreck went to high school in California at Harvard-Westlake. And you remember that high school where those three pitchers were all #1 picks out of Harvard-Westlake a few years ago. Max Fried, Jack Flaherty, and Lucas Giolito all went to high school at Harvard-Westlake, as did R.J. Schreck, and then he went to Vanderbilt. Put a nice swing on that one.
Now it's Alan Rodin at the plate for the Blue Jays, one of their top prospects. Fouls it back. There's been some lofty discussions about Alan Rodin and what he could potentially do this year if things go right. Do you think, Buck, that Rodin could find himself in the big leagues this year?
Not right out of camp. I just think there's too much competition. And he needs to really get back to AAA, get regular at-bats. I like his potential. I see a little Kyle Schwarber there.
Okay.
Same type of hitter. He's got a very good eye at the plate, very disciplined at the plate. But once again, the adjustment to AAA is pretty dramatic. But it's even more so from AAA to the big leagues. I don't think there's ever been a wider gap than there is between the minor leagues and the major than there is right now. Most of the talent's in the big leagues, and facing big league pitchers is a totally different story than facing minor leagues.
He's hit on the hand right there. No, it actually hit him on the knob of the bat. So the throw down to first from Leibrandt will end the inning. Well, 2 loud outs and a really awkward out, but for Leibrandt, a scoreless frame. It's still 4-3 Blue Jays after 6.
Kinder. Solving baseball's offseason is a tough case to crack.
We got a lot of work to do.
As the free agency frenzy continues, Matt and Harold are on the case. Hot Stove, weekday mornings, 9 Eastern on MLB Network.
Bobby Witt Jr. is an absolute superstar in the making.
I've never seen anything like him.
He's one of the best players in baseball.
Highlight reel play, Bobby Witt Jr.
That's why we call him Bobby Baseball.
He is a generational talent.
I want to win a World Series. I want to do it in Kansas City.
This guy is the cream of the crop right now.
Sensational again.
It is crazy, wiry, athletic, hot. That's only going to get better.
Superstar center fielder Julio Rodriguez.
I think he's one of the faces of the game.
This kid is special beyond words.
Julio Rodriguez, listen, at the end of the day, guys, this guy's a superstar.
Impossibly. Oh, what a play by Julio Rodriguez. What a life.
This is the man right here.
I feel like we were a pretty good spot to compete.
Another historic chapter.
It's been an interesting offseason for the New York Yankees, no doubt. Of course, they lost the biggest free agent in baseball to the crosstown rival Mets, but they added a lot to their team as well. Buck, when you look at their overall offseason, what are you thinking about these Yankees moves?
Yeah, obviously, bringing Max Fried in is a big get for the Yankees. Fried has been a terrific player. We just mentioned he's one of those 3 first-round picks out of high school in California at Harvard Westlake. Spent his entire career, all 8 seasons with the Atlanta Braves before he signed that nice contract. Cody Bellinger, former MVP in the National League. He's going to play center. Paul Goldschmidt, the veteran, he's going to play first base for Boone. And, of course, Devin Williams from Milwaukee is a terrific closer. He's got that wipeout changeup that is such a great pitch for him. And the Yankees have done a nice job. I asked Aaron Boone, I said, how do you like your team? He said, we got a chance. Indeed, they do.
Andrew Velasquez at the plate right now. Takes a strike and then takes a ball, so it's 1-1.
Of course, one thing the Yankees are,
Morales.
excuse me, Ben, one thing the Yankees are missing, Soto and Judge together. When Soto and Judge were together last year, opposing teams just always kept their eye. When are they coming up? When are they coming up? I mean, those two back-to-back were tough to think about.
Called strike 3. Andrew Velasquez goes down, and there's 1 out.
Yeah, I think that's one thing the Yankees, they're going to miss that. Soto was so good at getting on base, and once you have a guy like that getting on base consistently ahead of Aaron Judge, your offense is going to be much more productive. And I think last year, when Jason Dominguez did come back from Tommy John surgery, he didn't produce offensively like they had hoped, and they had to go with Alex Verdugo in left field. But now Dominguez is healthy. He's penciled in to start every day in left field, and it's still not going to be the dynamic duo of Soto and Judge, but they still think they have enough to compete and win the East again.
And they made one huge change in the offseason, Buck. They are now allowed to grow facial hair below their top lip. It was, at least to me, shockingly big news. But it is a thing now. The Yankees no longer have that signature look. And maybe some vindication for Blue Jays bench coach Don Mattingly, who wore a goatee at one point in the latter stages of his career in the 90s.
Yeah, and Donnie and George Steinbrenner went round and round about the length of his hair early on. And Donnie, he had longer hair, and he kind of liked wearing it that way. One of my favorite stories is, though, that with Lou Piniella and George Steinbrenner. Piniella came to camp with long hair one time, and George says, Lou, that's not going to work. And Lou said, listen, George, if long hair and a beard was good enough for our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, I think it should be good enough for the Yankees. And George Steinbrenner says, Lou, follow me. And he went over to a nearby pool and said, as soon as you walk across that pool, you can wear long hair. So George Steinbrenner, he had an answer for everything, and he certainly shot down Lou Piniella in a heartbeat.
1-2 pitches hit through the right side by Jesus Rodriguez. The substitute catcher gets base hit. For more on the Yankees changes, let's go down to Hazelmet.
Guys, I reached out to Blue Jays reliever Chad Green, who spent his first 7 seasons in the majors with the Yankees, and he told me that the no facial hair policy was a topic of conversation at many times during the season among his New York teammates. He said it was almost like a running joke. Make sure you have a razor handy if you saw someone with a little too much stubble. I asked him if that policy could potentially deter players from signing with the Yankees. Green said there is a chance, especially if a guy likes his long hair or beard and doesn't want to shave every other day. He thought that the change is long overdue. Also, guys, Aaron Judge, I spoke to a member of the New York media. Aaron Judge did not want the policy to change too drastically because it was things like that that set the Yankees apart from other teams. He liked that they were different from the other 29 teams in that respect. Guys?
And Hazel, it is true that it's not all beards. It's, quote, well-groomed beards that fly with the Yankees at this point. So it's not going to be a late 2000s Red Sox situation where you have a bunch of guys with long, shaggy hair and long beards, but...
Or Brandon Marsh with the fingers.
Yeah. Not going to see Charlie Blackmon.
Nah. But I kind of agree with Aaron Judge. You know, I like the fact that the Yankees have the same traditional uniforms. They don't have their names on the back of their uniforms. And it's like, you know, when you go to the Yankees, I mean, Jason Giambi signed with the Yankees and shaved before he ever got there. I mean, everybody knew what the situation was, and it was a rule for over 50 years. And, yeah, it might be time to change the rules. And, you know me, I'm more old school than anybody, but I can understand, you know. Just present yourself in a proper fashion. Eric Davis actually spoke out about it today, the great star for the Cincinnati Reds, who had similar rules. Uniform is always the same. Red Sox always the same. So, yeah, it's interesting. The times have changed. I get that.
Roderick Arias strikes out there, but a stolen base for Jesus Rodriguez, and there's a runner on second with 2 outs. I mean, heck, even Rougned Odor shaved his beard when he went over to the Yankees for that brief stretch. But what you might see is a little bit more of the beards like Devin Williams, their new closer, who is not sporting a long, shaggy beard, but potentially will keep his facial hair that he had in Milwaukee. As Tyler Hardman takes the first pitch down and away, 1-0.
Well, the beards obviously are very much in vogue around, you know, all over the place. And I guess you just have to change with the times.
1-0 is up and in. It'll be interesting to see, though. This was just handed down, so no one has a beard, really, for the Yankees right now. We'll kind of get to see day-by-day progress if you follow the Yankees at all of who is going to grow out their beard and who isn't.
Well, you remember Garrett Cole had a beard when he was in Houston.
Yeah.
And he shaved before he ever got to the Yankees, but he always wanted to play for the Yankees.
Carlos Rodon, the starter today, had a little bit more going on before he was a Yankee, when he was with the White Sox or with the Giants.
Well, I'm glad the Yankees are here for opening day, so we don't have to talk about it anymore all spring.
Yeah. 3-1 count to Hardman. Still Jonathan Lavallee on the mound right now for the Blue Jays. Got the final out of the last inning. Trying to end the top of the 7th, send us to the stretch. The 3-1. Hit well, but well fouled. 3-2.
One thing we haven't talked about in Yankee camp is the fact that Giancarlo Stanton hasn't swung a bat yet.
Yeah.
He's got tennis elbow in both of his elbows, and it's been a big, painful situation. He addressed it and said he played with it last year most of the season. Of course, he had a great postseason for New York and had a terrific World Series, but that's a concern.
Certainly is, as Hardman takes a full count walk.
One other thing we haven't mentioned yet is the fact that Aaron Boone got a contract extension.
He did.
He has done a great job. This is his 8th season with the Yankees, and he has a 2-year extension. And I was able to congratulate him today for that. And he's done a terrific job in New York. Of course, he comes from a great line of baseball people. His grandfather and his dad, and so many people have played. His brothers played in big leagues, and he's a terrific manager for the New York Yankees.
Won his first pennant last season, and he told me, or really he agreed with me. I said, some decisions might be a little easier for you this year with the bullpen, and he said, it's going to be a little easier. Devin Williams at the back end. When you have Luke Weaver closing you playoff games all the way to the World Series, and now he's your setup man.
Yeah,
he's in a good spot.
And they lost Clay Holmes too, who had been such a good reliever for them. Not necessarily a great closer, but everybody's adjusted. The entire division has made some adjustments. The Red Sox made some pretty interesting adjustments as well.
Pinch hitter for the Yankees, Reynaldo Hernandez, is in, ending the day of Everson Pereira. When asked by the Yankees reporters today about the division, Boone did say he felt like it was even more than other years, a year where everyone comes into the season pretty dangerous. He said any team could win it going into this season. That was his opinion, at least.
Yeah, when you think of Boston and they got Garrett Crochet in a trade from the White Sox, they signed Walker Buehler, the Dodger pitcher, to a free agent contract, and most recently, of course, Alex Bregman. And if you look at Bregman's numbers playing at Fenway Park, they're stupid.
Really good.
They're really stupid numbers. I mean, he's right there with DiMaggio hitting in that ballpark, and with great Manny Ramirez and guys that have really flourished at Fenway. Alex Bregman is right there with all of them.
Swing and a miss at the 2-1. It's 2-2.
But the signing of Alex Bregman has created some controversy, of course, with Rafael Devers, who is a third baseman. And Devers says, I'm a third baseman. I'm playing third base. So it'll be interesting. And Bregman's saying all the right things. He said, I'll play second if you want, whatever you need and all that stuff. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out the rest of the spring.
2-2.
The surprise for me is that the Orioles didn't do much in the offseason to address their pitching staff. Corbin Burns, of course, left and signed with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and they've got that great core of young position players. But, the pitching is going to be a concern, I think, in Baltimore.
And they're under new ownership. Didn't make huge moves as the 3-2 is hit back foul.
Charlie Morton, a veteran, was signed to a one-year contract, and he, like Scherzer and Verlander, in their 40s now. And, yeah, they can pitch, but how much do they have left in the tank? It was interesting. They all got the same contract, $15.5 million for 1 year.
One chopped foul again. Tyler O'Neill brought to Baltimore, the Canadian left fielder that essentially goes in the spot of Anthony Santander. And then a couple moves around the fringes as well. Ramon Laureano was brought in, but they mentioned the Orioles that their payroll is up, although a lot of that has to do with their arbitration and younger players just getting raises. 3-2 pitch is hit high, left field. Shrek backing up, and he'll make the catch to end the inning. Scoreless frame for Lavalley, who pitched a scoreless inning in a third, as we take it to the 7th inning stretch, 4-3 Blue Jays.
It's the great mascot race. Here we go. And they're off. They're neck and neck. Look at them go, folks. The crowd goes wild. It's the home stretch. It's a close race. It's the play at the plate. It's Lucille. Congratulations. You won the great mascot race.
After the first set. Stretch of the spring. We're back at TD Ballpark with the Blue Jays leading the Yankees 4-3. Ben Schulman, Buck Martinez, and Hazel May on hand, and a guest as we start the bottom of the 7th inning in his 4th season as Blue Jays manager. We are joined by John Schneider. Skipper, thank you so much for joining us today. How's it feel? First game of spring.
Good. Hanging on to this one-run lead here, but it's nice to just get back watching games and getting your daily routine down and things like that. So it's nice to be back out here.
John, you mentioned early in the spring you're not going to really look at numbers or at bats or anything else. You're just going to look at the guys and how they're handling different situations. And early on, first game, you got Jimenez up there trying to bunt a guy over from second. That's got to be an encouraging sign for you.
Yeah, it's just a guy who knows what he is. We've seen him do that in Cleveland for a lot of years and just understands the situation of the game. It's taking advantage of, stolen base, him and Ernie. But he's just such an all-around solid player and just really complements any lineup really well.
How do you feel overall about the pieces that you've added, whether it be on the pitching side, starting or bullpen, or in the lineup? A lot of different tools for you this year.
Yeah, man, I like where we are. And I think if you look at, if you're sitting in September of last year and you say you can get Yimi Garcia, Jimenez, Sandlin, Jeff Hoffman, Max Scherzer. I don't know if I'm forgetting anyone, but that's pretty good. I'll take that. Santander. Sorry, that one. Yeah, it's a pretty big one. But it's I like where everyone's kind of fitting in, and I like the way they're going about their work so far. It's cool when you have kind of a veteran group, but then you get some really good players around that. But you get really good.
the Blue Jays game on Sportsnet 1 or listen on Sportsnet on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Wave going around here in the latter stages of the game as Arias fouls it back 2-1.
Been a good turnout here for game one. As always is the case here in Dunedin. They've done a terrific job of refurbishing this ballpark. Nobody has left the standing room area out in the outfield. They're still packed out there. Of course, a lot of Canadians are down here, and they think this weather is wonderful.
Oh, yeah. It's cold for the Floridians. It's not for the Canadians.
Yeah,
I'll tell
you
you
can
that.
tell all the Canadians, they're the ones that are wearing shorts.
Look, as long as you're not stepping knee-deep in snow right now, at least speaking for the Torontonians, that's a big win weather-wise. 3-2 pitch. Line to center field, and that'll get down in front of Baroa. But you mentioned the updates. It's interesting talking to a guy like Jeff Hoffman, who was here a while ago and now back, and he said it is great to be in this facility. It really seemed like a big deal for him to be in the facility that the Blue Jays have now, both here and the PDC, the Player Development Complex.
I saw him in 2014 throw for the first time on field 1 back at the old complex at Engelbert. Yeah, we had a chat about that. He's thrilled to be back with the Blue Jays because he grew up in upstate New York in Albany. He said his family and all his close friends have already checked their passports to make sure they're ready to go. Looking forward to coming to Toronto when the Blue Jays are at home. But he's got 4 kids, and he said, my time in Philadelphia was great because my boys are really into baseball, and we were surrounded by some great players there. And the same is the case here with the Blue Jays again.
Being an upstate New York guy, I mean, maybe he was going to Auburn Doubledays games or stuff around there. He could have caught a little bit of what the Blue Jays were offering. Called strike 3, and the Blue Jays 1 out away. Ronaldo Hernandez up to the plate, runner on first. And Anders Tolhurst on the bump. Ground ball up the middle, and that's going to get into center field. And the Yankees keep this one going, now bringing the go-ahead run to the plate.
In case you're thinking about the possibility of a tie game, generally this time of the spring, first or second game, that's the case for the Yankees. This is their second game. They generally don't want to pitch extra innings. They have a number of pitchers that come here and a limited number of innings, so very rarely will you see extra innings in spring training.
Only so many guys can fit on the bus, and you're bringing a lot of your younger guys too. You don't want to put added stress on some of those guys.
Yeah, you bring a lot of guys just in case you have somebody knocked out of the game early, or the unfortunate situation where you might have an injury, so you make sure you got coverage to pitch 9 innings at least, but not often do you see extra inning games.
Toller's putting in a shift for the Blue Jays. 36 pitches he's thrown. An inning in 2/3 already recorded for him. Looking for one more out here to secure the Blue Jays' first win of the spring.
Ali Sanchez asked for time as Tolhurst was ready to deliver the pitch, and Sanchez wasn't sure he had the same pitch on his mind.
Called strike there as they got back on the same page, and it's 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Tolhurst gets Castillo, and the Blue Jays defeat the Yankees to open up their spring schedule A final score of 6-4. A fun one, Buck.
Yeah, and a good opportunity for John Snyder to see some of the regulars. He had Bichette and Jimenez and Guerrero, Alejandro Kirk all in the starting lineup, and they played well. And Jimenez had a run scored. Bo scored a run. Vladdy had an RBI. And overall, the three starting pitchers at the top of the show, Easton Lucas, Brendan Little, Zach Pop, all threw the ball well, as did Mason Fluharty. So it was a good day overall, and the Blue Jays come away winners in Game 1 of their spring training schedule.
Appreciate everyone who tuned in to this one on Sportsnet or the Gotham Sports app. For our production crew, Hazel May, Buck Martinez, and myself, I'm Ben Schulman. Let's take you over to some NHL action. Captain Canada Sidney Crosby and the Penguins against the Capitals in the first period already underway.
Some changes, but he still had to impress upon